Was that you? Come on, you boys. Green. Go. Go, man. All day, every day.
Hi everybody. Hi, good evening everyone. We just wanted to say from the Goldsmith group that's showing this film, Psych Fringe, thank you for coming. It's a film that's kind of encompassed what you talked about today, about the regeneration of the area. We worked with the Carps, so thank you for that as well. So anyways, we'll let you see it, and then hopefully there's some discussion, further discussion later on about it, but there's 6 of us here: Raquel, Paul, Ayat, Ella, and I, and Caroline. So thank you for coming. Hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you. Come on, you boys are green. Am I blocking your view? Am I blocking your view?
I, to some degree, am blinded by romanticism about it, and but I do. I can't engage in an argument about the benefits in terms of the legacy in the same way that Queen makes a lot of money for the country. It doesn't mean I agree with royalty or whatever. I mean, it may well be the case that as an economic argument in terms of the country, what the legacy of the Olympics and the Olympic Park and tourism, maybe so, I don't know. But I don't think it's, I don't see that it's going to benefit the local community at all in the slightest, and it's costing an awful lot of money. Yes, it'd be nice to, if you're into sport, it'd be nice to go and watch sports in those venues in the future, so as a sports romantic, that's great for me, and anybody who is training in sport, we're going to have facilities. I know there'll be some advantages of it, but it's more likely to be a sub-regional thing than a local thing. I think there's going to be a lot of anger. I think it's going to be a lot of anger because I don't think local people benefit. In fact, I think the opposite. They'll be chipped out of where they are in terms of Carpenters area, things like that.
Well, I suppose we'll have to start off where while the walk started, was really to highlight what was happening to the economies of the States. Not just as a result of the Olympic Games. In my opinion, this would have happened at a slower pace, or a slower process without the Olympic Games. Probably would have happened over a sort of 10 to 20 year cycle, because they were going to build something called Stratford City on the estate. It was going to be incorporated as part of what was called Stratford City. I think Westfield as a project was already going to be there, so it was all convenient that the Olympic Games turned up, because there was already this lovely plan to develop a piece of space in East London where you could fit in quite well the Olympic sort of village, sort of shove it in there. But as a consequence of that, it's had an effect on quite a lot of the local communities that surround the Olympic village itself.
Oh, fantastic. I like sport, I like track and field especially. And I thought, wow, it's going to be good for community. I thought, I had no idea that there was another darker side to the Olympics. So I think I was at a friend's place, the girl that's not too far from him. We would dance around the table because we like track and field, So anyway, later on, I found out that it wasn't so much that it had much to do with the regeneration process, but that it helped to speed things up. And I think I wouldn't call myself anti-Olympics, but I'm more aware of what the Olympics involves, you know, insofar as communities, local communities. And I should point out, really, I'm not really a campaigner as such. I'm just concerned about my home, right? So I got involved in a campaign, so I'm sort of like accidentally involved in this whole thing. And I think, I don't know whether I would have been, you know, so aware of, if you like, the kind of underbelly of the new council, because it's very kind of, seemed very seedy. And the way in which they deal with residents, I think part of the reason for that is because most of the electorate, ignorantly or not, voted to have an elected, an elected mayor, which essentially means he has more power than like, you know, having to talk to his cabinet. So as a consequence, and also the fact that the Labour Party have been sort of entrenched in Newham for so long, people are just like. So it's like a habit of voting Labour. So they've become so complacent, and they don't even really care about the electorate anymore. They feel as if, you know, this is as good as a done deal for them. This is their own. You know, I can remember it was a few years ago that I got some literature about the blocks coming down. You got to remember that what happened over the last few years was that they had a master plan. Newham had a master plan, and it kept changing. So people never really knew what Newham's real, you know, plan for the estate was. It later transpired that what they really wanted to do was just get rid of the whole estate. They probably wanted to do that from the very beginning, but part of their strategy was a sort of like picking people off. You know, just what they said in one of the earlier master plans was just one block and a couple of houses. Then it became the 3 blocks. So then I got a bit suspicious anyway when some literature came through about the blocks. And I tried to get involved in they had what was called a steering group, which is essentially like residents talking with the council. And I was barred from that, and I was told because I was a freeholder that this was only to do with tenants. And then so I was still like, you know, a bit confused as to why, because we're all residents here, so what happens at the blocks affects everybody. So I kept on trying. Eventually I got on the board anyway. When I was on the board, that's when I think more and more things started to pop up. I felt like there was some degree of corruption involved, even at the TMO. I think it goes all the way back to the Newham Council. That's my theory on this.
I mean, this is one of their pet boroughs to try out things. I mean, they tried out quite a few things on Carpenters estates. So the latest piece of technology kit they need to try out. So we were like a laboratory. I mean, it's ridiculous some of the stuff we've ended up with. Case of the tail wagging the dog. It's very much like what happens in trade unions, where you expect the membership to control the bureaucracy or the leadership, but it's the other way around. Whereas the TMO are technically supposed to be subordinate to the board, but it's the employees of the TMO who pretty much run the show, and the board turns up every now and then to understand what they do, and guess who pays their salaries? Yay, Newham Council. So what are you going to do? Just say no to your master? Sorry, getting back to... yeah, the idea was just to highlight what's happening to the estate, because I think it's an amazing story. You guys are going to report some of the local people who have lived there for years. It's a really just a story that tells itself, just talks to the local residents. So the idea was just to come to the estate, show people around, show what all the development that's happening, what that actually means, because you've got a lot of stories in places like the Eden Standard who would say that all this development is good. But the argument, I would say, the sort of communities like Carpenters Estate would say is that development is, we don't object to development, but it's development that has to take our needs into consideration. Or to some certain extent, we have to be in control of the process of that development, especially where we live. That just hasn't happened in the Carpenters Estates. There's also been a lie that